pole, followed by the 30, then the 68.
Yeah, and talking about Kuba Gemaziak, as Damien Faulkner just displaces him into 3rd place in that number 30 car. Huge amount of experience, not a name that will be familiar to many of our US-based viewers and listeners, but huge amount of experience back in Europe, with right up to the Porsche Super Cup. Had a couple of wins and finished 3rd in the championship in the Super Cup last year, and let me tell you, that takes some doing. The Polish driver has certainly proved that he can pedal a Porsche very nicely indeed. So Lee Keane from Damien Faulkner. Yeah, I'm going to get a slap.
I'm glad
from
it's
him.
just not me.
The teeth aren't working, I'm afraid. And then Kuba Gemaziak in 3rd position, ahead of Emmanuel Collard that you're watching right now.
Well, Damien Faulkner trying to claim yet another pole position for that Green Hornet squad. You look back through the season, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poles for that team, and Damien Faulkner has been absolutely magic. They just haven't had the results that they wanted.
Well, you know, it's not just one guy driving. And, you know, Damien certainly has shown what he's capable of. And you know what? It's like I said, you know what, drivers, you're always interviewing for your next job. And Damien Faulkner has been so stunning this year that he's the type of guy that you look at, and he will be somebody that other teams will be looking at, trying to get his phone number, talking to him. But there's a lot of guys that like that, you know, that are out there. But it's like I said at the opening, Petit Le Mans, it is your last opportunity to impress.
If a guy like Damien, who clearly has been a good driver, and there is Demo there, he's been into Indy Lights, he had a pretty good season in that, he's done some prototype racing back in Europe. He comes into a championship like this, he's impressed. A lot of people would say, well, yes, he should do, because he's an experienced driver. He's won Porsche Cup in the UK. But is he putting himself in the shop window here, Johnny? Will there be full GT teams looking at this and going, I might have to be giving the Irishman a call?
Well, no, without a doubt, because, you know, there are guys in the GT category right now that are probably very worried about their performance this year, and that is when, you know, a very common thing in racing, and it kind of stinks, but there's a lot of engineers that are like, we're not winning, so let's change the helmet, okay? And so they will go to it to see if another driver is not available, and you know, mentally speaking, you know, drivers get into little rhythms, and when you are doing well, when you are performing well, it's very easy to keep, you know, doing well and performing well. When you fall off that wagon of doing, you know, well and being successful, getting yourself back on that train is a difficult thing. Right now, Damien Faulkner, though, has delivered all year long and is digging deep once again.
And he's just made a tenth and a half
away, buddy.
Heard him say it's still 2 tenths away. Spencer Pompelli, Kevin Buckler's TRG squad, up to 3rd in GTC the last time by. So it's the 22 of Keane, then 34 Damien Faulkner, 66 of Spencer Pompelli, the top 3 in class. In GTE AM, it's Nicholas Armando in the 67 as the best of the 60 right now.
Bit surprised that Matt Griffin didn't qualify the AF Corsa Ferrari. Matt, another Irishman, living in the UK now, though, right in the centre of England, in a small village called Thrapston in Northamptonshire. And I know that because it's about 5 doors down from me. I drive past his house every time I go in or out. And Matt's done a lot of development work for Ferrari. I'm a bit surprised to see Pier Giuseppe Perezzini behind the wheel of that car. It's a long race, though, as you said before.
Well, and you know what? One thing, John, to just revisit as we watch.
He got it.
Not gonna happen.
Manu.
To address the driver issue.
What were you saying, Johnny?
Well, you know what? I mean, and what I was just talking about. Emmanuel Collard is awesome. That guy is an extremely, you see a little bit of damage there on his front splitter, but I mean, this guy is extremely good. He was a Corvette factory driver for the endurance races, but you see him get in just carrying too much momentum, cannot get the rear end to stick, and around he goes.
And he knew it back at the 1.5 marker. There's damage to the left front.
I think his front left suspension's gone there, guys.
The question is, did it fail in the braking zone as he came in? Is that what caused the spin? Something doesn't look right on the left front of the 68.
Yeah.
Well, but my point being is right there we have a barometer. This guy is known around the world as a top-line capable driver. So when you look at a Damien Faulkner or a Lee Keane or a Spencer Pompelli, they can very, you know, closely be compared to what is going on. And I think it speaks volumes to the quality of the guys competing here in the GTC category, which really speaks to the depth of all the drivers here competing at Petit Le Mans.
Hit the front of the car is certainly some damage to the left front here. It's really nothing significant though. It's just sort of dislodged the left front bodywork on the car. The splitter was kind of wedged underneath. Manu, maybe I have a quick word. Manu, what happened there?
I just lost the car on the braking.
And how was it up until then? It's very, very close in the class. All the times are within hundredths of a second.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
All the times are within hundredths of a second.
Yes, I don't know where I am. I can't tell you.
Yeah, so that's Emmanuel Collard just hopped out of the car. Like I say, there's nothing serious damage here, but I think both cars have been off during the weekend so far. Nothing too major, but another sort of minor incident here for TRG.
Jeremy, sorry, Brian. We're just a bit worried, Jeremy, about the left front on that. It looked like maybe a steering arm or part of the suspension. The front wheel was wobbling around rather, so it might have been that the suspension had taken a bit of a damage as he got sideways. So we might have to have a look. He certainly hasn't taken it back out again, which is interesting.
It'd be interesting to see it on jacks and get the weight off of it to see if there's something wrong with it as you look at Perezzini in the 60 down through turn 12, and there's a look at the 24. Andrew Davis now behind the wheel. He's been drafted in to replace Bob Fayeda in the 24.
Yeah, good looking colour scheme as well for this car. Reminder that we're following along with the spotters guides, and you can get them here on the grounds as well with a donation to the American Le Mans Series favoured charity.
You guys mentioned Andrew Davis being drafted in. That's been done in the last little bit here. Bob Fayeda, he has the flu, and he finally had to pull the plug so they could get Andrew in the car and get him some laps in before the race tomorrow. Andrew is no stranger to the GTC category. We don't see him much race here, but he races a very similar car in Grand Am. He actually won the championship in 2011 with Lee Keen, so he's very familiar with the car. It's just coming to terms with this team, which he will have no problem doing. The team said already he's been a joy to work with.
And a fair point as well, Jamie, that we might have a few normal Grand Am followers watching us here on the internet, because I know that the guys down at Daytona have been tweeting about the times here, and of course it's going to be a combined series and just at the end of next season. So if it is your first time watching the American Le Mans Series and you're normally watching Grand Am, here's one of your regulars out there qualifying.
He knows the car, and he certainly knows the racetrack very well. So it's just a matter of learning the team. And as Jamie said, a professional driver like Andrew Davis comes to grips with the team and the personality very quickly, and expect to see him moving forward in the 24.
Yeah, but I can tell you, Brian, he's not happy with that car. That's a nervous-looking car for Andrew Davis right now, and you know, he's probably trying just to give as much information as he can. Spencer Propelli there carrying a lot of momentum. You know what? That is one of the coolest things about Road Atlanta, and difficult. You know, drivers like to hit curbs, but that curb in turn 3, you've got to be an artist and a precision-type driver to hit that curb properly. That time, Spencer looked like he got it right.
And a lot of the curbs here, Johnny, are very deceptive. If you walk the track, as all of these drivers will have done, particularly if you haven't been here before, they look quite benign, they're quite low, but they are placed in areas where they can really unsettle the car. And the first time you rattle across, for example, the exit curb at turn 5, my goodness me, you know you've hit that one, and it looks really, really easy when you walk the track.
And again, John, it's how you hit it. You can get into the curb on the exit of turn 5, and it's not a problem. There are other times you can get at a little bit of an angle, and it begins an oscillation in your car. You can get in and out of your traction control very violently. So, you know, there's a lot of nuance to this circuit. But again, this is one of those racetracks that's like, you know, Elkhart Lake. You know, it's one of those circuits that that most drivers really love coming here. Elevation change, fast corners, good straightaways, great overtaking areas.
Inside a minute to go here in qualifying for GTC and GTE-AM. It's Nicholas Armindo in the 67 who has the best of Pier Giuseppe Perezzini in the 60 in GTM, but Lee Keen leads over Damian Faulkner, then Spencer Pumpelly. And Pumpelly leaning hard on that left rear up the hill into turn 3 again, seeing if he can get just a little bit more out of that 66 from the Racers group.
Oh, man, and he's working that thing. Use all the curves. Remember, you don't own that car. Look at those hands moving in the cockpit.
That was neat through there, though, through 5. He didn't lose any time at all as the checkered flag has gone out over start-finish line.
This lap counts.
Yeah, you will get through this one. Turn 6 here is a really difficult corner because you can go much quicker than you think through there, Johnny.
Well, you get in there, and there's a lot of banking. You see Spencer using all the road that he possibly can. But, yeah, you know what? I'm not sure he's still on it, though, to be honest with you. You know, when you're racing, you've got on your dash, you know, what your time is and whether you're up or down versus your previous laps. And so you know whether or not you still have a shot. But, you know, he brought it in there deep. He is digging.
There's not a lot of quit in Spencer Pumpelly, so even if the predictive is a little bit off, he's going to run it hard all the way to the line.
Yeah, well, he's going to finish the lap, so he must think he's in with half a chance. Coming down to this awesome final corner, no room for error there. He goes across the time, 1:24.7. No improvement. Now, Damien Faulkner, I think, is still out on the circuit in the Green Hornet car.
And so consistently, John, running quick. And Damien, we have seen him on the last lap get a pole position before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lee Keen, Damien Faulkner, Spencer Pumpelly. That is the top 3 right now. And for the 22, that would be their 3rd pole position of the season. From GTC, let's move to GT, and we'll head to Jamie Howe.
Extreme Speed Motorsports